What an impressive performance from Dakota. Some of the best Muay Thai striking in mixed martial arts I have ever seen. Honestly, I can only liken it to Anderson Silva, which is a massive credential to have on her belt. Like her Thai clincher ability to pull and turn a knee. Spectacular. Absolute. I mean, sky's the limit for her. I cannot wait to see what's next.
Dan Hardy sends a clear warning message to Valentina Shevchenko. The former UFC title challenger believes PFL's undefeated sensation Dakota Ditcheva would defeat the UFC flyweight champion if they fought today. And in an even more controversial take, UFC analyst Din Thomas believes Dakota Ditcheva should be traded for light heavyweight champion Magomed Ankalaev, a proposal that's lighting up social media and has the MMA community divided.
We got to understand that MMA is a star-driven sport. We have a star problem in the UFC, much less the GFL when they were stars 10 years ago. Like, how do they expect a 50-50 split revenue and you don't even know what the revenue is going to be?
It's like the PFL with Francis. It's like they gave them all this money and then now they can't afford apparently to pay the rest of their fighters.
They didn't build stars.
They got Dakota Ditcheva, who's a star.
Yeah, she's legit.
Yeah. I'm like, yo, if you guys like MMA, do this for MMA. Trade her to the UFC.
Yeah.
You know, she belongs in the UFC. Listen, get rid of Ankalaev in the UFC. Trade her for Ankalaev. We don't need Ankalaev. You know what I'm saying? He's not getting the title. We don't need this guy. Ankalaev will fit right in at the PFL. Another guy that no one knows about that's really good.
Stay tuned as we break down these explosive claims, analyze what this means for both promotions, and examine whether the UFC should seriously consider making this unprecedented move. Let's dive right into our first story. Dan Hardy, the former UFC welterweight title challenger turned PFL head of fighter operations, has made a bold declaration that's sure to ruffle some feathers in the UFC flyweight division.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I agree. It feels like we've been in a bit like of a hibernation over the winter months.
Hardy didn't mince words when speaking to MMA Fighting, stating, "I would put my money on Dakota Ditcheva against Valentina Shevchenko right now." This isn't just casual speculation. This is a direct challenge to the established pecking order in women's MMA. But here's where it gets interesting. Hardy's reasoning goes beyond just hype. He pointed out a crucial weakness in Shevchenko's fighting style, explaining that Valentina completely dominates people with just this steady pace, but rarely produces highlight reel moments. According to Hardy, the kind of person that would break that style of fighting is someone that attacks ferociously.
This is going to be a tough test in every single range of the game. Now, what we saw against Jenna Bishop was the fact that she was taken down, she stayed safe, she got back to her feet, and then, you know, she got back to her game. I don't think there's any secret in what Dakota's going to try and do in pretty much every one of these upcoming fights. We want to see how good she is, you know, where her potential is. Because right now she looks pretty much unstoppable. I'm excited to see where she lands after the championship.
Well, I mean, you know, all these world tournament fights have been matched by the World Fighter Ops team, and you know, when I see these matches that they've put together, I mean, the thing that makes me most interested is when I see a fight where I could quite easily see both of the guys winning.
And that's exactly what Ditcheva brings to the table. Hardy emphasized that Dakota's got the height and reach, the power, she's got the viciousness. The PFL star stands as an undefeated 15-0 with an 80% finish rate. That's not just impressive, that's downright terrifying for any opponent. Hardy went even further, claiming Ditcheva could hold her own on the ground with Valentina if not be able to defend the takedowns. He's essentially saying that the American top team product has evolved into a complete mixed martial artist who can match Shevchenko in every phase of the fight.
Right now, I'm not too sure that Shevchenko is the best 125er there is. This girl, man, she goes after people. She is nasty.
Valentina has to fight this woman.
The biggest women's fight in MMA history. Dakota Ditcheva versus Valentina Shevchenko.
The confidence doesn't stop there. Hardy believes Ditcheva beats anybody right now in her weight class and could even find success at bantamweight. This isn't just about one fight. Hardy sees Ditcheva as potentially the best flyweight on the planet, regardless of promotion. Now, if Hardy's comments weren't controversial enough, UFC analyst and former fighter Din Thomas has proposed something that has the entire MMA world talking, and it's absolutely wild. Thomas believes the UFC should trade their newly crowned light heavyweight champion Magomed Ankalaev to the PFL in exchange for Dakota Ditcheva. Let that sink in for a moment. Trading a UFC champion for a fighter from another promotion. Here's Thomas's reasoning, and he's not pulling any punches. Speaking on the Casuals MMA podcast, Thomas stated, "We gotta understand that MMA is a star-driven sport. We have a star problem in the UFC.
We got to understand that MMA is a star-driven sport.
Yeah.
And we have a star problem in the UFC.
He specifically called out the UFC's marketability issues, saying, PFL got Dakota Ditcheva, who's a star. I'm like, yo, please listen. If you guys like MMA, do this for MMA. Trade her to the UFC. You know she belongs in the UFC.
They got Dakota Ditcheva, who's a star.
Great. Yeah, she's legit.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm like, yo, please. I'm like, listen, if you guys like MMA, do this for MMA. Just trade her to the UFC.
Yeah.
You know, she belongs in the UFC. Just trade.
But here's where Thomas really went nuclear on Ankalaev. He didn't just suggest trading him. He essentially dismissed the champion's value to the UFC entirely. Just trade. Listen, get rid of Ankalaev in the UFC. Trade her for Ankalaev. We don't need Ankalaev. He's not getting the title. We don't need this guy. Trade him for Dakota. Ankalaev will fit right in at the PFL. Another guy that no one knows about that's really good.
Listen, get rid of Ankalaev in the UFC. Trade her for Ankalaev. We don't need Ankalaev. You know what I'm saying? He's not getting the title. We don't need this guy.
What a good take.
Trade her for Dakota.
Trade Ankalaev for Dakota.
Dakota's fun, dude.
You know what? I'm all about this take.
Ankalaev will fit right in at the PFL. Another guy that no one knows about that's really good.
This is coming from someone who works as a UFC analyst and has coached fighters like Amanda Nunes and Tyron Woodley at American Top Team. Thomas isn't some random fan. He understands the business side of this sport. The timing is particularly significant because Thomas's comments came after Ankalaev's victory over Alex Pereira at UFC 313, where he captured the light heavyweight title. Even becoming champion wasn't enough to change Thomas's mind about Ankalaev's marketability.
Because he was doing the death show with us, the producers asked me if I wanted to do that. Because he was going to be on. I was like, of course I do. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Y'all give me an opportunity to roast my man, and he can't beat me up right here because there's too many people. So yeah, I break your face.
And here's the kicker. This isn't unprecedented. In 2018, the UFC and ONE Championship completed MMA's first major trade when they exchanged Demetrius Johnson for Ben Askren. So there is actually a blueprint for this kind of cross-promotional deal. The question is, would the UFC really consider trading a champion for an unproven commodity, even one as talented as Ditcheva? So who exactly is this Dakota Ditcheva that has these industry veterans so convinced she's the future of women's MMA? The numbers speak for themselves. At just 27 years old, Ditcheva boasts a perfect 15-0 professional record with 13 knockouts. That's an 87% finish rate that would make even the most seasoned veterans jealous.
It's been a long time coming. This is mentally the strongest I've ever been.
You know, competition is important to me. So if you're going to put me with the same girls and have the same girls in the tournament, I'm not really that interested.
She captured the 2024 PFL Women's Flyweight Championship by defeating former UFC title contender Taila Santos. And remember, Santos took Valentina Shevchenko to a razor-close split decision. Ditcheva didn't just beat Santos, she stopped her in the second round with a vicious TKO. But it's not just about the wins, it's about how she's winning. Dan Hardy described her as ideally built to be a striker in mixed martial arts, with long-range limbs to attack you with, and the ability to be overbearing like Anderson Silva was with her clinch.
I'm most interested in seeing who's going to really, step out with their elbows in the striking ranges. It's a little unfortunate for Dakota that she's not in the mix here, because I would imagine that she'd be able to really demonstrate some nasty elbows.
Her background in Muay Thai and kickboxing has translated perfectly to MMA, but she's also shown growth in her grappling game. Most recently, she scored a unanimous decision victory over Sumiko Inaba at PFL Cape Town, showing she can win rounds without just relying on knockouts. Hardy made another crucial point. I also feel like she's early in her career too, which is quite terrifying. She's achieved so much already. If this is Ditcheva just getting started, the ceiling for her career is absolutely unlimited.
Man, well, I mean, you've got to say Francis Ngannou is probably the most widely recognized worldwide
closely behind that, I would say Dakota. You know, I think people are really excited about her potential and her future, and you know, where she's going to go, what she could potentially achieve.
She's also become the face of the PFL, which recently signed her to a new multi-fight, multi-year deal. But as Hardy pointed out, she needs elite-level competition to continue growing, and that's something the PFL might struggle to provide consistently. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Would this trade actually make business sense for the UFC? From a pure marketing standpoint, Thomas might have a point. Ankalaev, despite being incredibly skilled, fights with a methodical, technical style that doesn't always translate to casual fan excitement. His reserved personality also doesn't fit the typical UFC champion mold that generates pay-per-view buys and mainstream attention. Ditcheva, on the other hand, represents everything the UFC loves in a fighter: knockout power, an engaging personality, and a compelling backstory as the first British woman to win an MMA World Championship. She's already generating significant buzz on social media and has the kind of highlight reel moments that go viral.
Well, you fought already against Khamzat.
Yes.
We think or we hope that RDR will be doing that also soon. What's, in your opinion, the key for him to win that fight?
I think from the whole division, I think he's the one that has more chance. The whole division, I actually had in my channel, I have a big channel in Brazil. I was talking to Chimaev's coach, jiu-jitsu coach. We fought before. And I asked, who you think is the hardest fight? And then I say, I'm gonna tell you. But then you tell me, and then he said, who you think? I think it's RDR. And then he said, me too, I think it's RDR. I have all RDR videos. He already said, I watch everything already. I think he can win. I think his jiu-jitsu is high level. I trained him a couple of times. He's very good, very long, very big. I don't know how he make middleweight. He's huge.
Ritter's a real deal monster, and he's been good for a long time. If you're not paying attention to the international scene, Ritter's been a name that's been at the top of that list for a long time.
Or a lot of you guys don't acknowledge anything outside of the UFC, but let you guys know, this gentleman was a 2-divisional sport champion and 1 championship. He's got a lot of great finishes over there, and he's had a lot of great battles with Anatoly Mannequin as well.
Joe Rogan sends a clear warning message to newly crowned UFC middleweight champion Khamzat Chimaev, and it's about a fighter who could potentially end his undefeated streak. Plus, Chimaev's brutal response to all his haters after dominating Dricus du Plessis at UFC 319. Stay tuned as we break down why Rogan believes Reinier de Ridder is the man who can beat boars, and how Chimaev is firing back at everyone who doubted him. Let's start with what happened at UFC 319 in Chicago. Khamzat Chimaev absolutely dominated former champion Dricus du Plessis, controlling him for 5 straight rounds to claim his first UFC title.
Looking at the fight with Khamzat Chimaev and DDP, man, how do you break that fight down? And what could have DDP done a little bit different?
Khamzat was very dominant. He got every takedown. There were a couple of moments where I was a bit frustrated with what Dricus did. He fell to the guillotine a couple times, like very sloppily, and then he had that little moment of getting up, and then he wasted it by falling back to his guillotine. I was surprised that he didn't have a chance to get up there. Khamzat was so well in control there. It was very surprising to me.
Yeah, I was just training with Strickland over the last couple of weeks, so it wouldn't be as nice to call him out, I guess. But why not Khamzat? That would be a nice matchup. Grappling-wise, yeah, it'd be cool.
But here's where it gets interesting. Despite being a heavy betting favorite, many prominent UFC figures picked against Chimaev. We're talking about big names like Israel Adesanya, Alexander Volkanovski, Michael Bisping, Demetrius Johnson, and Chael Sonnen. The consensus among these experts? Du Plessis would weather the early storm and take over in the later rounds with his superior gas tank. Boy, were they wrong. Chimaev took Du Plessis down in the opening seconds, and the same script played out round after round. Still, Knox barely had any answer for Chimaev's wrestling dominance.
Finish Khamzat later on, because Khamzat, if it gets to round 3, 4, 5, it's going to be a problem. It probably won't get to round 5. I say round 3 or 4, DDP. But if Khamzat's going to win.
So,
with all that being said, who do I have winning between DDP taking on a Khamzat Chimaev? I'm going to have to go DDP just because I feel DDP is spot the best of the division.
All right, so I am going with Dricus. You guys are going to see the first round, maybe even the second.
Shout out to Dricus du Plessis for doing the interview. I'm going with Khamzat Chimaev, folks. No, I'm joking. I'm going with Dricus du Plessis.
Absolute dogfight, back and forth, and then he's going to start to fade, and Dricus takes over. And Dricus du Plessis will still be the middleweight champion of the world, and I think wouldn't surprise me if he got a late stoppage in the fourth or fifth.
I'm fired up for this fight.
And now, Chimaev is on a victory lap, and he's not holding back. The undefeated champion recently posted a compilation video of all those predictions, with a brutal message for his doubters. You understand now that you can't listen to these monkeys.
Finish Khamzat later on, because Khamzat, if it gets to round 3, 4, 5, it's going to be a problem. It probably won't get to round 5. I say round 3 or 4, DDP. But if Khamzat's going to win.
So, with all that being said, who do I have winning between DDP taking on a Khamzat Chimaev? I'm going to have to go DDP just because I feel DDP is spot the best of the division.
All right, so I am going with Dricus. You guys are going to see the first round, maybe even the second.
Shout out to Dricus du Plessis for doing the interview. I'm going with Khamzat Chimaev, folks. No, I'm joking. I'm going with Dricus du Plessis.
Absolute dogfight, back and forth, and then he's going to start to fade, and Dricus takes over. And Dricus du Plessis will still be the middleweight champion of the world, and I think wouldn't surprise me if he got a late stoppage in the fourth or fifth.
Strong words from the new champion, clearly enjoying his moment of vindication. But while Chimaev is celebrating and calling out his critics, Joe Rogan has issued a serious warning to the new champion. During the UFC 319 post-fight broadcast, Rogan identified the one man he believes could dethrone Chimaev. That man, Reinier de Ridder. Here's what Rogan said. Reinier de Ridder, in particular, given his ability to grapple on the ground and also his ability to stand and land shots, particularly that knee he lands, that is nasty. Toughness, experience, he throws those combinations with that long lead-in knee. He's interesting.
I like that.
His striking's terrifying.
Yeah.
De Ridder's got that knee to the body that is so interesting. The way he fucking forces you to clinch and then blasts that knee to the body.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky.
So good in the entrance with that knee to the body.
Yeah.
And when he did that over and over and over again, it's like, wow. Like,
Paid for it one time with that overhand.
That's true.
And that's where Rodriguez would be fucking.
Yeah.
Throw that knee and fucking RoboCop had the thing locked on his jaw.
Yeah.
But perfect nickname for him too. I know. RoboCop. He looks like him.
Does look like him. Yeah, that's a fight, right? De Ridder and RoboCop's a fight.
That'd be a crazy fight. Yeah.
That's a good one.
And Rogan isn't alone in this assessment. Former UFC middleweight champion Luke Rockhold agrees, stating, "In reality, I like de Ridder. He's probably the #1 choice for this thing, for sure. But why de Ridder? What makes this former one championship double champion so dangerous?"
But he's so big.
Yeah.
He's so big for 85.
But so is RoboCop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The way he handled Bo Nickel, he made Bo Nickel small.
I thought that was a horrible matchup for Bo Nickel.
But it was a lot of those knees to the body. Those knees to the body were nasty,
into the
man.
face.
He was so good at it. He was so good at throwing that knee to the body.
He's very calm, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's been through it, man. I mean, we haven't seen him, but over in ONE FC, there it is. That knee to the body is so nasty. It's so nice.
Since joining the UFC, the Dutchman has been nothing short of impressive. 4 straight wins in just 9 months. He's scheduled to face Anthony Hernandez in October, potentially setting up a title eliminator. The key factor? His elite-level jiu-jitsu and grappling ability. As Gilbert Burns, who once pushed Chimaev to his limits, explained, "To beat this kind of high-level wrestler, you need to have wrestling defense, and your jiu-jitsu has got to be good. You've got to know how to be in bad positions, protect yourself, get up and strike. And I think RDR can do that." Speaking of Chimaev's future, the newly crowned champion has his sights set on something unprecedented in UFC history.
That sucks.
And on the ground, he's a monster.
Yeah.
What he did to Kevin Holland, I was like, whoa. Okay.
Jiu-jitsu's on point, man.
So that's another 85er. I mean, think about that division. You got Fluffy, who just like has this breakout performance last weekend. Shit. You got, the whole division.
Fluffy's funny. What about that African dude?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I'm scared of him.
He might be the one.
Chimaev has been actively campaigning for a spot on the rumored UFC White House card, scheduled for summer 2026 to commemorate America's 250th anniversary. The champion recently posted an edited image of himself in front of the White House, doubling down on his interest. This isn't just fantasy booking. Dana White has already revealed mock-up images of the South Lawn setup, with an octagon designed to accommodate fewer than 5,000 fans, while additional viewers would watch from big screens in a nearby park. Fan reactions have been mixed, with some joking, "Someone notify the Secret Service," while others are excited about the possibility of seeing Chimaev defend his title in such a